Hey FPL managers, it's Josh here from FPL Hawley. This is my 17th consecutive season playing FPL and I have a top 2k all-time rank. My obsession is solving your biggest FPL problems. And this week, we have a big problem to solve. After a chaotic game week 3, where I played my free hit chip, it's time for another big move. My wildcard is active. In this video, we're going to review the damage from last week, break down what we've learned, look at the impact of the transfer window, and I'll walk you through my 2 current wildcard drafts and my entire strategy for the next 5 game weeks. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the game week 3 review. And honestly, for a free hit, it wasn't a great score, but I would absolutely take the green arrow. My free hit gave me a 600k rank rise, putting me at 4.7 million overall as we head into this much needed international break. The big wins for me were punting on the double Chelsea defence, which got very lucky with Fulham having a goal disallowed, but I'll take that. And I also captained my joint highest scoring player in Haaland, who matched Joe Pedro's return of 9. The cons, I did take a strategic punt on my free hit to double up on 2 defences. One paid off in Chelsea. The double punt on Forest defence was looking like a masterstroke for 80 minutes, but then they completely capitulated against West Ham. Also, my entire midfield blanked. I'd said in my free hit draft, some people were asking me why I wasn't doing 3-4-3, and I just didn't love many of the midfield options. And anyway, the ones that I did pick blanked. I got very unlucky with the early Cunha injury, especially when the safe pick, Bruno, got a very soft penalty right at the end there and 10 points. But hey, you live and learn, and that's FPL. I still feel my decision to pick Cunha was sound, and who knows what Cunha could have done had he have played the full 90 minutes against Burnley. So, what have we learned from the first 3 game weeks? First off, the promoted team defenders are offering great value. Players like Rodon, Ronaldo, Esteve and Dubravka at just 4 million are looking like incredible enablers who can actually start in good home fixtures. Second, Bournemouth, they're a team to target. They're looking solid both in attack and defence and a fantastic source for those mid-priced assets. Semenyo is a lock in my wildcard draft along with at least 1 entry point into the Bournemouth defence. Third, the Man City defence is an avoid for me right now. They're just not worth the premium price tag with their poor performances and risk of rotation. And that leads to a big strategic question. With so much value in those budget defender spots, is it finally time to go without a premium 6 million plus defender? I'll discuss that for my wildcard draft. Now, let's talk about the transfer window and the huge news of Isak's move to Liverpool. How does this impact our FPL plans? For me, Isak himself is a wait and see. But his presence could have a massive impact on Mo Salah. With Isak and Ekitike liking to drift left, we could see Salah take up a much more central role, moving from a provider into a pure finisher, allowing Frimpong to overlap on the outside. Now this could be huge for Salah's FPL ceiling. For me, Salah remains absolutely nailed, at least in the short term, and I expect to have him for at least game week 4 and game week 5. With that in mind, my new player watch list includes Harvey Elliott at just 5.4 million. I think he could do really well for Villa, giving some width on the right. And the new signing at Spurs in Xavi Simons is a baller. At just 7 million, he could be great. And I'm definitely keeping an eye on Jeremy at Palace, who at just 6 million could be a fantastic as a replacement. All 3 of these guys are going on my wait and see watch list, but I'll be keeping a close eye on them. Now, let's quickly check in on my first half of the season chip strategy. My plan was always to bench boost early and also activate an early wildcard. My bench boost is played. My wildcard is now active as planned. The only change is that I had to bring my free hit forward unexpectedly due to all the injuries that I had in game week 2. This means I only have 1 chip left for the first half of the season, which is the triple captain. Looking at the timeline, the obvious options are Haaland at home to Burnley in game week 6, or targeting Sunderland at home for either Salah in game week 14 or Haaland in game week 15. So these are my options for triple captain. With a lot of chips played so early in the season, I really need this wildcard to stick. So why am I wildcarding now, and what's my strategy? This isn't just about picking a team for Game Week 4, it's about attacking the upcoming block of fixtures. My plan is to start this wildcard with 2 free transfers already in the bank. I'll then roll my transfer in Game Week 5. This means I'll have 3, maybe even 4 free transfers by Game Week 7. Now this gives me huge flexibility. My strengths by wildcarding now moving forward is that I don't need to consider the depth of my bench, as I've already played my bench boost, as well as building up a number of free transfers. So this position would allow me to load my budget into my starting 11 plus 1 high quality sub to sit and rotate in off my bench. I then want to make aggressive moves every 2 to 3 weeks to have the optimum premium combinations. So this would be a combination of Salah Haaland and or Saka, Palmer, Bruno, etc. and any of those Liverpool assets like Isak that might come to the fore over the next couple of weeks. Now, on the right hand side of the slide, I've put together a captain's matrix for the next 4 game weeks. My strategy is to captain Salah for game weeks 4 and 5. Then in game week 6, when the fixtures swing, I plan to use my built-up transfers to make a big move. Salah and Mateta out for Haaland and Saka in. This allows me to then captain Haaland and Saka in game week 7 and 8. It's a proactive plan to target the best captain every single game week. From game week 9, it's then all about Chelsea. The details on that can wait for a later video. I also just want to call out as well that I'm very torn about game week 4 captaincy. I could quite easily, if I bring him in on my wildcard, captain Haaland at home to Man United. With that strategy in mind, here is my updated watch list for my wildcard. I've broken it down by position and then also price point as well. As you can see, there's a lot of option and a lot of value, both in the goalkeeper and the defender positions. And what I will most likely do is land on a wildcard that has coverage across a number of teams. I've already mentioned them at the top, but Bournemouth are a team that I'm looking to focus on. So having either Petrovic as a 4.5 million goalkeeper and or Senesi or Trufa in defence. I really like those options as well. I think having Spurs defensive coverage makes a lot of sense, either Porro at 5.6 or you've got Van der Ven at 4.6 or even splitting in the middle at 5 million and getting Vicario. That's one thing I love about the Spurs defensive options is you've got pretty much an option at every price point. I mentioned at the top there around the need for a premium. Now, if I was to bring in one, and he'll be in my 2 wildcard drafts, it would be Virgil at Liverpool, just because of their early fixtures. The Gabriel Saliba situation at Arsenal is interesting. I think in an ideal world, I'd bring in one of them from game week 7 if the Arsenal defence continues to look very tight. They've obviously looked really good the first 3 game weeks. They were a wonder free kick from Szoboszlai away from 3 clean sheets. Pretty tough fixtures as well, away at Old Trafford and away at Anfield as well. So considering those, and then the other piece as well is the Palace defence. I've got Richards, who I think is a lock at 4.5. A question for me is, do I double up on Munoz? And then you can take your pick between Rodon, Ronaldo or Esteve, and Dubravka will be on my bench. The one question that I do have is around the Forest defence. Now, in game weeks 5 and game week 6, they have 2 really nice fixtures, but they just went and shipped 3 goals at home to West Ham. I would have had Milenkovic as a lock in my draft team, but I'm just not so sure now. So I'm going to have to think about that one for a little bit longer. But anyway, with these price points and options in mind, this has led me to 2 draft options. So option 1 is the Salah and Haaland double up. It's a massive statement and not many other FPL players will have it. However, it is very restrictive on the rest of my squad. And with my chips running low, I need this wildcard to be flexible for the next 10 plus game weeks. And this structure does worry me as it only leaves me 0.1 in the bank, a very light bench and overall defence. However, what I like about it is that I've got Haaland at home for Man United and I'm not pre-booking in Haaland's transfer for game week 6. I would always consider when I'm building a wildcard, if I know I want Haaland in 2 game weeks, would I not just bring him in now? Because he is such a premium asset. So that is a consideration of mine for this wildcard. This then leads me on to option 2. Now this draft overall is a lot more flexible and a lot more balanced. As you can see, I actually start with 2.6 million in the bank, But with a few tweaks, this could actually go as high as 5 million in the bank if I make a few downgrades. For example, Raya could be downgraded to Petrovic, Vicario or Pope. Rodgers could go down to Reinders or Kudus, and I could drop Virgil down to a 5.5 defender. So if I had 5 million in the bank and all those free transfers, this would allow me to easily move to any player I want over the coming weeks without tearing my team apart. And I am just quite conscious that I'm wildcarding off a small data set. 3 game weeks is probably on the light side. Ideally, I would have wanted to have 4, 5 or 6. But hey, I've had to pivot to the needs of my team. So having a structure like this option 2 without Haaland, but with funds in the bank to bring him in very easily, and other players as well, say Isak starts in game week 4 and lights the league up, I'm going to want to bring him in very quickly. So having a structure like this with a strong squad and bench and a well-balanced team does allow me to do that. But I still have enough in the bank to do Salah and Mateta for Haaland and Saka in game week 6. So I can then get my Arsenal coverage and my City coverage as well. I'll be watching the international games closely and keeping an eye on any injury news. But right now, I'm heavily leaning towards option 2. It does set me up perfectly, but for both the short and the long term. What do you think about my wildcard drafts, and what are you doing for game week 4? Let me know in the comments. So that is my entire thought process for my game week 4 wildcard. A lot of planning, but a clear process to hopefully attack the next few game weeks. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more FPL analysis from me at FPL Hawley. I'm away next weekend, so unfortunately there will be no game week 4 deadline stream from me, but I hope to get another video uploaded either Wednesday or Thursday with an update on my wildcard draft plans. That's all from me. Best of luck in game week 4.